Hello again, it's Psalm 26. Psalm 26. This is a psalm where David is, or from the David's record. Remember, not all the psalms that has the name David to them were necessarily written by David. May have been approved by David, but they went into the David records, and from those records, so many of the psalms of the David records are in this book of Psalms. This is a psalm that says, "Judge me and examine me." It recognizes God's loving kindness, and it says that it needs to be an integrity in the way that I live, and that is there. It talks about the fact that he washes his hands in innocence. We know of a New Testament person, Pontius Pilate, who washed his hands, but it wasn't in innocence, no matter how much he may have tried. And he says this, "I publish with the voice of thanksgiving and tell of thy wondrous works." That echo comes up many times in the psalm. That is not the verse that I'm talking about today, for you today. Lord, this is the verse, "I have loved thy habitation, the habitation of thy house, and the place where thine honour dwelleth." Now, we have said before that when we come to this phrase, the house, we're thinking of the presence of God. And the presence of God has been symbolized in different ways. The presence of God, of course, for Moses was in a burning bush to start with. The presence of God for Abraham was in a covenant sacrifice, in a dream. The presence of God for the children of Israel was the giant tent that reminded them of their smaller tents that they lived in, and God was in their presence in their giant tent, the tabernacle. And each of these places, and there's many more as we go through the Bible, it means the place where the presence of God is to be experienced. Not that the presence of God was not to be experienced elsewhere. Indeed, you would not experience the presence of God in any of the places I've talked of if you didn't have the presence of God in your daily lives. It's because you had the presence of God in your daily lives that which symbolized the presence of God became important to you. And therefore, Lord, I have loved the place where you dwell, the place of your presence. This is what I love. And the place wherein your honour dwelleth. I've meditated a large part of my life on why God uses temples made with hands, the small church here, the medium church there, the giant church here, the big church there, the multi-thousand church there. And there is no doubt that God works in all churches, in all people, in all races. If he's going to call people from out of all tribes and all nations, he's got to be working in those tribes and those nations, and in those houses and those places, and in the presence. And where you've got 80, 100, 120 people, the presence of God is there because they're there. Of course, I realise that. But somehow, I still wonder what it means that you can have an extraordinary experience of the presence of God when you come together in a building that you've made and God is there. I think it's the mercy of God, it's the honour of God, it's the love of God, it's the graciousness of God to be with you. Now, I have loved the people of God. Wherever I've been, and I've travelled because of work and been in different churches and different persuasions, and it's always the people of God that have captivated my heart. I don't think I've ever been in any building of which I felt somehow captivated. Indeed, it's been in some of the most unlikely buildings that I've seen the work of God exhibited the most. And the ones that is where we spend millions on, So often we don't. That's the great contradiction that we have this day. Well, this is a verse. I have loved the habitation of thy house, place where your presence is, and where your honour dwelleth. Verse for the day, Psalm 26. A psalm that says, judge me, discern me, correct me. And there I see the goodness of God. Boy for his Bible. See you soon.